Next on AM 1480 WLEA, The Newsmaker Show. Here's Brian O'Neill.
Thursday morning, glad to have with us on The Newsmaker Show Dr. Mark Zupan, the president of Alfred University. Dr. Zupan, you've been there a couple of years, and you've been on the show before. Thanks for coming back.
Delighted to return. Thanks for the opportunity, Brian.
Well, Dr. Mark Zupan, Alfred University's got a new learning program. It's called APEX. Can you tell us about that?
Thanks for asking, Brian. It's short for Applied Experiential Learning. It was kicked off this July, and the initial gift was for $500,000 from one of our trustees, and Michelle Cohen and her husband Marty. They had a son graduate from our program in 2004. A very important component or predictor of future success for college students is the more you can supplement the principles learned in the classroom and practice them in the real world. And what APEX does this year and next year is it allows our juniors and seniors to apply for a grant of $1,000, up to $1,000 to do a study abroad, a co-op, an internship, a research project, a capstone project. And by the year, 2 years hence, it'll go up to $2,000. And our intention is that every single Alfred University student, regardless of family financial means, will have that applied experience, which is so critical to future success.
Talking with Alfred University President Dr. Mark Zupan, a new program there called Common Ground. Can you tell us about that?
That just launched this fall, Brian, and we scrambled all 511 new students by geography, race, ethnicity, curricular majors, co-curricular sports, residence halls, nationality, and the intent is to, in small facilitated groups of 18 students per group, 28 different groups, facilitated by a faculty staff member. We had 4 deans as facilitators, 2 VPs, had the honor of facilitating a group personally. And there were 2 objectives, not lecturing to our students, but a facilitated dialogue where better respect for the different places we come from, the different perspectives, different aspirations. And then the second objective is what common values are we going to commit to as citizens of this new Alfred University community? Stuff that we could look at the 5 or 10 year reunion and take out of the time capsule and see to what extent did I live my word? Where did I fall down? Where do I have to keep striving to do better? It was facilitated by a $100,000 commitment from our trustees. We've already now received commitments of almost $200,000 to set up an endowment, so it's hit a sweet spot with donors that see a need for programs like this to bring our community together and ultimately make the world a better place. And similar with APEX, the initial gift was for $500,000. We've since doubled that support through other alums, friends stepping up, and either through endowment support or current use saying this is a great thing to be doing.
Alfred University President Dr. Mark Zupan is our guest. The Alfred University Pledge, can you tell us about that?
We have, for the past year and a half, roughly, a new Vice President of Enrollment Management. He's led 5 different shops around the country. He's got a PhD from University of Texas. But he's also a cancer survivor, and when he was head of enrollment management at Allegheny College, had to step back due to battling cancer, and he's brought a lot of wonderful ideas to our team. We've seen last year a 10% enrollment increase. This year we're running about 15% up in applications so far. And the Alfred University Pledge is one of his ideas that he's brought to campus, that we make a commitment to our students that if they take certain steps in terms of keeping up with coursework or catching up where need be, the university is committed to getting them out in 4 years. And he will cite statistics that right now across the country, and this was an article over the weekend in the New York Times, only 56% of students colleges and universities nationally end up finishing in 6 years. And it's not just the added tuition cost, but the time cost that students and their families have to cope with, and the increased debt that goes with it. So we believe this pledge will indicate that we really want to work with our students. We each have to do our part, students as well as faculty and staff, to ensure their ultimate professional success.
Dr. Zupan, a question, and this is veering off into politics a little bit, but the upcoming agenda from the New York State Democrats, and they now control not only the Assembly and the Governor's Mansion, which they have for many years, but they now run the State Senate as well, the Democrats do. They already have a SUNY free tuition program, but I think they'd like to do more, from what I understand, in the upcoming agenda in the State Senate. How has Alfred University been doing with the Excelsior program that's out there from Governor Andrew Cuomo, and what do you think of future plans for more tuition free for the SUNY students?
Well, in spirit, it's been consistent with our mission from our start in 1836 of making sure we're the intersection between opportunity and impact. And our average financial aid exceeds what the Excelsior program has been providing. We also have a statutory college like Cornell. Ours is our New York State Ceramics College, so some of the funding through the Excelsior program has also been applicable to our students. Our key thing, though, is as much as possible financial aid should be provided to those with greatest need, so that there isn't a challenge for them to pursue this opportunity. And so any changes or amplification, my strong encouragement would be let's target the support to where it's needed the most. When you start to get into family incomes of $110,000, $150,000, it may politically be advantageous, but it's not steering the need to where that need is most needed.
Dr. Zupan, on the topic of philanthropy,
it's a huge difference, and we've had donors step up to renovate residence halls. Joel and Ann Moskowitz, most recently Marlon Miller, who's done so much over the years for our university. We've had donors step up, former board chair Gene Bernstein, providing scholarship support. We've had donors step up to provide the kickoff funding for the APEX program. Our board has been behind Common Ground, so it provides that critical margin of excellence. And we've got new lighting, for example, from a board member on Merrill Field, LED lighting, and he's one of the co-founders of the firm Cree, that's one of the world leaders in LED lighting. And so the sustainability of our operations, our energy costs have gone down. The nighttime light pollution has gone down dramatically thanks to his philanthropic donation and his passion for promoting LED as opposed to alternative traditional light bulbs. So across the board, it allows us to stretch even higher, and when we have donors step up, it's an inspiration across campus. We had a recent $3.4 million commitment, for example, from a couple, both alums in the D.C. area, and they're particularly passionate about psychology and counseling, and so their support will go to establish a professorship in the field of psychology counseling to provide an endowment for operating support for that field. So our wonderful opportunity is where philanthropists want to make a difference is connecting them with things we're doing that can make a difference in the world and student lives, and ultimately making the world better and providing those connections. But there's no shortage of good things happening on campus that can benefit from philanthropic support.
Talking to Dr. Mark Zupan, the president of Alfred University. I did want to ask about the ceramics program. You know, I think a lot of people around here, when they think of AU, there's a lot of great majors there, but ceramics is definitely one of them. Anything going on in ceramics school there that we should know about?
Yeah, we're sometimes called Silica Valley, not Silicon Valley, because of the abundance of clay, and since 1900, thanks to the support of the then governor of the state of New York, Teddy Roosevelt, we've had a New York State College of Ceramics that both spans certain engineering programs and our top 10 School of Art and Design. And it's been instrumental to building a maker culture. Our art and design students, first-year foundations course, learn to work with all different media, whether it's ceramics, glass, print, painting, and then our engineering students go through mud labs, so they find out how to put together composites and the properties of various composite materials. And we're now seeking, and it's one of our 4 transformational initiatives in our strategic plan, to better capitalize on the Silica Valley, on ceramics, so building bridges between the art and design piece and the engineering piece. We have an alum who runs glass for Tesla, for example, and they're interested in doing some research projects with us because when they're producing a new truck line, the truck has to look cool, and it's also got to work. We have an alum who is with a major architectural design firm in the Boston area, and they do iconic structures like the glass pyramid in front of the Louvre Museum in Paris, France, where the thing has to look cool, but it's also got to be structurally sound. They also designed the former headquarters for Apple on Fifth Avenue with the tall glass ceiling, the cube. It had to look cool and it had to be structurally sound. So we think we can build bridges not just within the ceramics college programs, BS in engineering coupled with the BFA, Bachelor's of Fine Arts, but then building bridges with the business school. So when an entrepreneur in the field of engineering or technology has a great idea, how do we ensure that she or he can turn it into a successful business plan? We're stressing a business minor or a 4+1 option where you can get 2 degrees by being with us for 5 years, get that engineering degree, get that art and design degree, and then complement it with an MBA program, and so that you can really be well-armed professionally with that skill set, and then what it takes to be successful from an accounting perspective, a marketing perspective, a finance, HR perspective.
Dr. Zupan, one of the things that the radio station, we have 3 big things that we work with the university on. We cover their football games on Saturday afternoon. We have longtime Alfred University professors on every week, like Dr. Robert Heinemann, the professor emeritus of political science and longtime Alfred University history professor, who's still with you there, Dr. Gary Ostrower. And the other thing we do is we'll sometimes cover the forums that you have when Dr. Ostrower will get together with Chris Churchill and Emrys Westacott and talk history and philosophy, and it's those are really interesting discussions that you put on there at the university.
The single most common comment, Brian, when we're on the road meeting with alumni is somebody here took an interest in me at Alfred University and changed my life. And so this transformative experience, so it allows students to uncover their passions and then nurture the confidence to pursue them. Gary Ostrower and Bob Heinemann, it's amazing how often their names come up in these conversations with prominent alumni. We have, for example, an alum who's the county executive, new county executive Fairfax County in the D.C. area. It's one of the 2 richest counties annually around the country. He's in charge of a $4.3 billion budget, 12,000 employees. He came to us to play basketball, but Bob Heinemann changed his life. So it's something that we want to keep nurturing. And in a small private school, we have the ability. I grew up mainly in Columbus, Ohio, where it was next to Ohio State. Great in many ways. They just had a fabulous football win over the weekend, but very much a factory approach where it's not uncommon to have 400, 600 students in an undergraduate class. It's much harder to have that transformative experience with a faculty member, with an individual staff member. And if there are any other ways that we can partner with you beyond the football games, we're very proud our seniors that were part of the football team had the best four-year record of any group of students over their four-year careers at Alfred University, and the job Coach Bob Rankel does in coaching our young men on that team. And then where we can partner with you on the Bergeron Forum or other avenues, we'd be delighted to do that. Gary, for example, with some other political science history professors, recently put on a panel on World War I. The 100th anniversary of World War I coming to a close, and expertise in what can we learn from that conflagration that can keep other follies from repeating themselves in future years.
You know, when you talk there in your answer about the size of classrooms and the ability to speak and communicate and connect with the students, I think that it's amazing the ability of Ostrower and Heinemann and the others that I mentioned, Westacott, Churchill, and the others that often speak at those forums. Their ability to break it down and make things that are really complicated a lot easier to understand.
We had somebody give a professorship 2 years ago in honor of Wes Bentz, a longstanding chemistry faculty member, and just the number of alums that will say, I never got it until Wes spent time with me, and then finally Avogadro's number clicked. Or the concept of molality and how it eventually clicked, because I had the opportunity to have Wes Bentz in my life, and that's something that having a few mentors in your life. I'm an economist because I had a mentor like that in college, Joe Cald. Having a few mentors like that in life makes all the difference, we believe, to a student's future success. And then having the opportunity to practice, like through an Apex program. So what a Wes teaches me, or what a Gary teaches me, or Bob or Linda Sikora, who's the head of our leading ceramic art unit, that I can go out and practice it and see how either theory applies or doesn't apply. One of our first Apex grant winners, Rosie Vasquez, went off to work for Tom Reed. Tom's an alum of ours, and he provided the opportunity to work in his D.C. office. And were it not for the Apex grant, she couldn't have pulled it off. D.C.'s an expensive place to live. The Apex grant made it possible to travel there and live there, and it was a life-changing opportunity for her. Another student went to the IMG Sports Academy. She's a health fitness major, and it opened up a world of possibilities to her. So it's the faculty and then the opportunity to put the principles into practice.
Going to take a quick break, then we'll check the forecast. We'll be back with Alfred University history professor Dr. Mark Zupan. Stay with us.
Hi, it's Sean Stewart. Join Fun 92.1 this Friday night, starting at 6 p.m. on Main Street in Hornell. We'll be welcoming Santa Claus. There'll be a parade on Main Street straight into Santa's Lane, inside Santa's Village. Also, watch as Hornell does their Christmas lighting up the Christmas tree. There'll be live music from Josh White. It all starts at 6. Friday night on Main Street in Hornell. Happy holidays from Fun 92.1 and Hornell Partners for Growth.
Checking in now with meteorologist Rob Carolyn, who says mild and rainy coming up.
That's right, Brian. After cold and snowy, we're going to head in the opposite direction. A storm system that's just now starting to take shape in the central United States. Looks like it's going to push lots of warm, mild air our way, and it's going to be accompanied by quite a few raindrops. That's going to be breaking out across the region Saturday afternoon, continuing through Saturday night and into Sunday morning. In fact, we could see a fair amount of rain. It should set the table for milder temperatures that'll continue Sunday into Monday. Today, well, it's going to be a gray one out there. Got a lot of cloud cover over the state. Satellite photos showing almost being cloudy across the entire state. Only down around the city, Westchester County, and the island into some sunshine this morning. Those clouds, they'll prevent the sun from shining. We'll only get to 35 to 40 today. Sun did come up this morning at 7:18. It'll set tonight at 4:39. Now, for tonight, we'll see a lot of cloudiness. Seasonably cold night shaping up for the region. Lows will fall back to about 25. For tomorrow, it looks like it's going to be fairly cloudy. Could see a shower or two. Very weak frontal boundary starts to lift across the region. In the morning, it could be a little bit of rain, some wet snow. That's just a rain shower tomorrow afternoon if we see it, 35 to 40. A showers end tomorrow evening with 30 to 35. More substantial precipitation heads our way Saturday, cloudy and breezy with rain in the afternoon. High Saturday, 40 to 45.
On today's Newsmaker show, Alfred University President Dr. Mark Zupan. Dr. Zupan, STEM programs, hear a lot about them in the news, and you hear, State Senator Kathy Young and maybe Assemblyman Joe Giglio talking about the STEM programs. Can you tell us about that?
In science, technology, engineering, math, we can't produce people quickly enough. We, for example, just had a engineering career fair, and this fair has continued to grow by leaps and bounds with the leadership of Amanda Baker in our Career Development Center. But the thirst for talent right now for companies throughout the United States and beyond, we believe, though, we'd like to take it beyond STEM to STEAM and also stir in art and design, because having that creative component, a Da Vinci-style program, so it's what Leonardo da Vinci, his amazing ability in art, and being able to combine it with his talent, basically, in engineering and science, that you can bring a lot with that combination, and that's where we're exploring more of a bridge, a dual degree option that would allow you in a shorter period of time to realize the benefits of both. And so we're going to keep pushing in the STEAM side, and then complemented with a further M. So it also incorporates management, because without that accounting, without that finance, marketing, training, the best ideas can die on the vine. One of the new programs we're anticipating launching in the fall is a leadership minor, offered by our College of Business in partnership with our Judson Leadership Center, Women's Leadership Academy, open to majors across campus on how do you hone leadership skills. So if you want to be an artist, or if you want to be a lawyer coming out of liberal arts and sciences, how do you learn from talented leaders? And then how do you develop your own style, and what general principles do you take with you so that you can have a bigger impact in the world?
Dr. Zupan, you mentioned partnerships there, and the school, Alfred University, has partnered with Columbia, Cornell, Syracuse. Can you tell us about those partnerships?
Yeah, and this is another concept that Brian Dalton, who I mentioned in the previous segment, has brought with him. And the visual that we bring to bear is in an airline magazine. There's a map of all the different points an airline can take you from a particular hub, and we're envisioning the same thing for Alfred University, all the different places we can take you. So there are feeder programs. How do we make sure articulation agreements? Many students start off with community colleges, so to facilitate that transition, or from leading high schools in the state and beyond. And then once you're at Alfred University, which doors can we open up for you? So right now we're talking, for example, to Columbia Teachers College. We had one of our two top seniors last year now pursuing a master's degree and creating quite a pathway through her own studies, and one of her classmates will likely follow at Columbia in her footsteps next fall. So structuring a relationship so that if you attend Alfred University, achieve a certain GPA, perhaps take certain coursework, that facilitates your admission into the Columbia Teachers College. We're talking to the Sloan Program in Healthcare Administration at Cornell University, one of the top of its kind, about how, again, if you take certain coursework, attain a certain GPA, would perhaps guarantee admission into that leading program. It allows us, as well as places like Columbia and Cornell, then attract more and better students over time. We're talking to 3 different leading law schools in the country. Again, if you take certain coursework, achieve a certain GPA, in certain cases, you can bypass having to take the LSAT, which is a pretty expensive proposition, not just in the fee for the exam, but the time you have to spend studying. And law schools have found that college GPA is a much better predictor than the LSAT preparation entrance exam for ultimate success in JD studies and then professional success beyond. We struck a partnership with the leading osteopathic school of medicine, LECOM. It's Lake Erie College of Medicine. And students from Alfred University are guaranteed spots in their medical school, in their pharmacy school, in their dental school, if they achieve a certain GPA, go through an interview, and take certain coursework, and you can bypass having to take the MCAT exam. So all these different destinations, Newhouse and Maxwell, two leading schools at Syracuse University, their architecture school, we're similarly structuring partnerships with them. Newhouse School of Communication is one of the top communications programs in the country, so you could pursue a graduate degree there coming out of Alfred. The vice chair of our board, Carolyn Clark, who's had an enormous amount of success professionally, dearly regrets we didn't have this partnership because that would have been her path and made her even more successful, she believes. Maxwell in public administration, similar thing at Syracuse University. We don't have a public administration program of that extent as Syracuse does, and it provides a good jumping-off point for our students. So we believe it's a win-win-win-win, most importantly for our students, but for both partner institutions.
Dr. Mark Zupan, the final question, the 4+1 option at AU, can you tell us about that?
It's coupling, delighted to, Brian, it's coupling any other degree at the undergraduate level that then allows you to couple it for another year and receive an MBA from our College of Business. So we're accredited by ACSB. It's the gold standard of business school accreditations around the world. We're one of the smallest ACSB accredited schools, but it's still that gold standard, and so it's the chance to get 2 degrees, and whether you're art and design, liberal arts and sciences, if I get a physics and astronomy degree or a chemistry degree, that I can also take an MBA with me, and that combination, we believe, will further enhance the professional success of our graduates.
Dr. Mark Zupan, president at Alfred University, I want to thank you very much for coming on this Thursday morning.
Thank you again for the opportunity, Brian. Happy holiday season to you and your listenership.